Good morning, everybody. Welcome to NBA Betting with Fiddle. My name is Michael Fiddle. Today is Wednesday, January 7th. We have 12 NBA games to go through, every side, every total, a handful of player props, and so much more. On this show, we are definitely going to talk about the following things. We're going to talk about one of my weaknesses in betting and how I overcame it yesterday, only for that to potentially bite me in the butt this morning. We are going to give away an edge regarding handicapping two teams relative to their schedule spots, and we will break down some other get down on it spots in the market right now. I'm going to share the odds at FanDuel, and we will go through this, like I said, every line, spread and total, where the market has moved, where we think it is going to end up, and what is still actionable on the card right now. Hopefully you guys can realize, I hope this is a good thing, you got a new microphone. Hopefully that is sound quality is a little crisper. Let me know if you notice it and if it was worth the investment. If you guys see a little steam coming up behind me as well, the heater in my office broke, which is right there on the wall, and it makes these clicking noises. So I got one of those Vicks humidifiers for when you're sick and you put it in the room that you're sleeping in to try and not be dried out. And I'm like, it would be nice if I just pump some hot steam into this room. That is one way to make it warmer. So for the last 20 minutes, I've just been having the steam machine going from a humidifier. Legitimately works. So Fiddle Science already off to a good start on the show today. Mike does sound good from Brian. I appreciate that. Looks like a new camera too. It's not a new camera, but it just, when you have such a handsome figure in the camera does look good automatically. Let's start moving through this slate. Like I said, 12 games to go through. Loaded slate here on the show. And we will do a plus EV spot from BetStamp at the end of it. It starts with the Toronto Raptors visiting the Charlotte Hornets, a spread at Raptors -2, a total at 230.5 here at FanDuel. We have had minimal movement in this game. In fact, this is one where if there's not much bets or action, I might just move fast through these ones, but minimal movement in this game for sure. I would say it took a bit of under movement to start. The total opened here at FanDuel at 231.5. And I was like, over spot? And then I noticed the first moves were under. And there was a wave of under action to start this out. And I said, okay, I'm not going to go playing over when I see the market moving under. The market would have a consensus move to about 229.5. And then we are starting to see that climb back up today. So Circa even opened this last night at 11:14 p.m. Eastern time, 229.5, like where I said the original rec books were moving down towards it. That's where it opened at Circa. Starts moving this morning at 9 a.m., 8:57 a.m. Eastern time, 230.5, then to 231, now to 231.5. So it is right back up to that 231.5. I wouldn't mind playing this over 230.5 if that's the side that you want for this game. I would say that's probably the best place to play this right now. Charlotte does have their main guys back. We always go through the latest news on the injury report. It is one of the high value portions of this show, is not only just, hey, here's the injury report, but dissecting it a little further than what is information out in the ether, in the Twitter world, what the beat writers are saying, because we study the injury reports very closely. It's a sad truth of reality that perhaps the biggest edge in NBA betting, and I'm not giving away anything too crazy here. I am going to give away a nice edge later on at relative to two teams, but it's not anything crazy to say that injury news and understanding it and being focused on team tendencies, player tendencies, what the beat writers are saying, what the coaches are saying, that has become the biggest edge in NBA betting over the last few years. And the people who say, oh, CLV related injury news isn't worth anything. Like, look what happened with the 76ers and the Nuggets. The Nuggets rule everyone out, but all their guys still rally and play well, and they upset the Sixers as 15-point underdogs. I would say you remember the losses more than you remember the wins when those things happen. Like, you could ask me at the end of the year and I'll be like, yeah, I remember when I bet the 76ers at home against the Nuggets minus 11.5. I got the news 15 minutes later. Aaron Gordon out, Christian Brown out, Jamal Murray out, Tim Hardaway Jr. out, Valanciunas was already out, Jokic was already out, and Cam Johnson was already out, and I was like, oh, that is a dub and a half happening right now, only for the Nuggets to storm back and win on the Jalen Pickett breakout performance. You could point to the Golden State Warriors and the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis showed up in the Minion costume, and Doc said he expects him to play against the Warriors, and the line starts moving towards the Bucks. All of a sudden, Giannis out. Line moves 6 points the other way from 2.5 Warriors to plus 2.5. To what was it? It might have even moved more than that. I think we ended at Warriors plus 8.5, and Bucks won without Giannis. That was the Ryan Rollins game. So people say injury news and CLV are irrelevant. That's actually not true. It's just that you remember the losses more. But big scope, it's actually become probably the biggest edge in NBA betting. And so for this one, I'd say the main one to point out is Brandon Miller. He did play last game, and he's probable for this game. We do expect him to play. This line is pricing him as in. So if that changes, you're going to have a huge move towards the Raptors. If he is announced from probable upgraded to playing, you're not really going to see a shift in this odds. You might see some 1.5s pop up because I believe there are some 1.5s out there just naturally. Yeah, there's plenty of 1.5. So maybe this 2 at FanDuel goes to 1.5. Bookmaker has it too. $4 Fanatics has it too. But the rest of the board is pretty much at 1.5. So you might just see it reach that consensus price. However, I don't think you see much move side or total on that Brandon Miller in news. You might see it harshly. Sorry, I kicked myself out. Ian's laughing at me in the back. Technical issues. And we back. I do that all the time when I'm meeting with Ian or with Drew and we're just working on the side. All of a sudden, I'm just gone. Where'd he go? He went nowhere. He just clicked the wrong button. The Chicago Bulls are at the Detroit Pistons for this game. A spread at Pistons minus 10.5, shaded towards the Pistons here, minus 112, a total at 231.5. Now, line opened here at 10.5 for Detroit. Market ratings have this as Detroit Pistons minus 10.3. Model is right around that price as well, especially after you make the adjustments for the injury report that is happening on the Chicago side. Obviously, Josh Giddey out and going to be out for a while, but we also know Jalen Smith is out, and he was starting for a little bit pretty recently. So it does matter about Buzelis and Kobe White. Now, we had a great comment from Free Sauce while the Get Down On It intro was starting, and said Mataz Buzelis reported at shoot around. So maybe this brings the total up a little bit because the total has dropped too. But if Kobe White and Buzelis both play, I think this total raises at least 2 points, maybe 2.5 points, back up to 234. I'd expect this maybe moves to Bulls plus 10, but I don't think it's going to move that much. I think Pistons minus 10.5 is the right price here. Again, market ratings, which include Duren and Tobias Harris as out, have this at Detroit Pistons minus 10.3. So we are right here at a 10.5, and the Pistons playing very well after their win over the Knicks and win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. 2 smack cities in a row, as my guy Jay Money would say, for the Detroit Pistons. So we will continue to move along this card. It is the Washington Wizards at the Philadelphia 76ers. One play I absolutely love here in this game is the under. Like the under for this game, Wizards at 76ers. It is a 3-4 and a back-to-back for the Washington Wizards. Now, there are a handful of schedule spots that we definitely have to point out as we go through this slate. Anytime you have 12 games, 24 teams going, you should definitely try and be aware of some of these schedule spots that are happening. The Detroit Pistons are on the 3-4 situation, but they got yesterday to rest. And so they also had an easy win over the New York Knicks where their guys didn't play many hard minutes. So that one didn't illuminate to me. But Washington being on a 3-4 and back-to-back with travel because they're on the road this one. They won over the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Tragic, the Paolo Banchero, no jumper, PB, no J. Magic crashed yesterday. I was on a Washington Wizards +8. I should have fucking been on a money line too. I think at this point, anytime, I mean, this is like a blanket statement that's probably untrue. So take this with a grain of salt. I feel like anytime I play a dog on the dog on the ATS, I should just be putting a sprinkle on it on the money line. I'm one of those people who's very rigid in my value, and I use a spread money line conversion chart to say, okay, this is actually not a great money line price relative to the spread that I'm getting, so I'm going to put all my exposure over towards the spread. Or, hey, this is actually a great money line price, and the spread here is not so great. I'm just going to play a money line. So I try and find the best value of the line that I'm playing and just go that way. But considering the amount of upsets happening throughout the league right now, I like the gut in me goes, if I was just playing money lines on every single dog that I was betting, it would probably be more profitable than splitting up my value charts and putting that quarter unit or half unit into the right line than just always going spread plus money line. We will see if I change my routine based on previous results. Probably not too much. I'm pretty stubborn in my process. That is a true to life statement, I would say, about me. Anyways, the Wizards are 3-4 and second leg of a back-to-back here. I think that might mean some of the older guys, some of the vets, you might see downgraded to questionable as we go throughout this day. So doubtful is Chris Middleton is already on there. That one speaks volumes to me. That was one that I thought was going to come in. It probably came in late last night or this morning. Corey Kispert upgraded to probable. Don't love that for being on the under because he's a 3-point shooter, quick release. I like Corey Kispert to the current day Max Strus. Like, puts the ball on the deck too and can defend a little bit, but is probably not as great of a shooter as you think, but he's definitely a good shooter and he's a high volume good shooter. So he does create a lot of space, but better at putting the ball on the deck and better at defense and worse at shooting than you would just initially think. And no, that's not a white comment. That's just a factor of his play style and that he gets up a lot of high volume, quick threes. Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Trenton Watford, all questionable for the Philadelphia 76ers. I do expect Embiid to play. Keyshawn George, I apologize that I've been pronouncing it wrong. I was corrected on buckets. Keyshawn versus Keyshawn. Keyshawn George and Chris Middleton are doubtful. I would like CJ McCollum to be added to this list, especially with the Trae Young trade inquiries that seem to be brewing and connecting Washington and Atlanta. I kind of do think Trae Young does play today for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know if that's crazy to think or just honestly what's going to end up happening and pretty surprising. But I like the under here because the veteran playmakers, ball handlers, offensive initiators might be out for Washington. And that could lead to the pace is going to be fast because Washington plays fast and Philadelphia tries to get in transition often. But I think the efficiency could drop, especially if Joel Embiid plays, because he's a little bit of a slower player. He's a hub of an efficient offense. However, his rim protection numbers are legitimately more solid than you would think. Like, people are like, Embiid can't jump. Embiid can't guard the rim anymore. Like, he's not even lifting off that. Like, sure, in the first few games of the season, when he was on a minutes restriction, it didn't look great. It didn't. If you look at his numbers, Embiid's rim protection is phenomenal this year so far. So he's back up to being an elite rim protector. He's always been such an elite scorer, but he's actually been someone who drives game totals towards the under because of his slow pace and defense. So combine those two things. Embiid still a slight under player. I played this at 235.5 and would still recommend it at this 234.5 minus 106 towards the under. You can find a 235.5 minus 110 at BetMGM, Caesars, Bet365 has a 235. Looking at best line, it is that MGM 235.5 minus 110 towards the under. Circa has it as well, but I do believe that this is the absolute peak of this price, and it's either going to move down or it's going to stay where it is. We did see a quick 236 show up, and it got hit under. So I do believe that was a little bit of a resistance point when the over money started to come in. Let's move on to the Boston Celtics versus the Denver Nuggets. So a schedule spot for the Denver Nuggets on a 3-4 on a road trip, on a tough 3-4, a tough, like lengthy road trip. However, I think it is very important to point out, like I was saying earlier, related to injury CLV, Murray, Brown, Gordon, Tim Hardaway Jr. all missed last game. Smack in the middle of that 3-4, that second leg of the back-to-back after getting run out by Brooklyn. They travel to Philadelphia, easy trip. Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Boston. They were recently in Toronto. So the Nuggets have been on a bit of a East Coast road trip here. However, the main players took that 76ers game off. So for Murray, for Gordon, for Brown, this is second game in 4 days. This is totally fine. And a schedule spot, you should essentially downgrade the factor of for the Denver Nuggets. Putting this at 9.5 has to be a play for me on the Denver Nuggets side. I did play Denver Nuggets plus 9.5. I did play that plus 295 on the money line. I will look at best available odds right now on the board. There are 9.5s consensus pretty much everywhere. FanDuel has it at this minus 112. So shop anywhere else if you can. DraftKings, MGM, Caesars, Bet365. If you want to put $4 on it, you go to Fanatics, Circa, Bookmaker, the sharp books. Actually, Bookmaker is shaded minus 115 towards the Nugget side, which is nice for me to see. Some exchanges already at the 9, Bet Rivers at the 9 flat. ESPN Bet, the starving artist, now currently known as The Score, also at 9.5. So plenty of 9.5s out there to play on the Denver Nuggets. Money line plus 310 at Caesars is the best available line. So I would definitely be playing Nuggets here in the same way that we played 76ers earlier, and just reading the tea leaves of this schedule and what it could mean in terms of dictating the injury report. I expect Murray, Brown, Gordon, Hardaway Jr. all in. I'm actually pretty surprised that they're on the injury report to begin with. Market ratings have this as Boston Celtics minus 9.3. We have to factor in that some of that market rating is going to factor that these guys missed last game. So I actually think this should be closer to 7.5. And so if we get the wave of all of these questionable guys being in, and I hope it's not just like one or two of them and a few of them stay out. But I believe that this is a clear Nuggets buy opportunity because of the injury report and it likely favoring Denver players playing in this spot. So I would go Nuggets. I would go money line. And you could maybe say over, but the over has already taken a little bit of movement. I would just rather play Nuggets and money line as well. So if we're looking at the board so far, we have a 76ers Wizards under. We have a potential Raptors Hornets over if you want it, and a Nuggets money line. I'm going to remove all those selections so we don't have the little bar up here at the bottom. The New Orleans Pelicans are playing against the Atlanta Hawks in this. We have a line at Hawks minus 10.5. We have a total as high as 247.5. One of the highest ones we've seen on the board. I really wanted to play an over when this came out at 241.5, but the schedule spot for the Pelicans and what the Hawks are dealing with the trade rumors, nice. Thought of that one on the spot. It made it difficult to play at 241.5. There was a lot of, that was the open for this total. There was a lot of questionable factors going into this game. The Pelicans on a 3-4 and the second night of a back-to-back with travel. This is just a brutal spot for the New Orleans Pelicans, especially when you layer on the team tendencies of potentially not playing Zion or playing him off the bench, or what's going to happen with Herb Jones, what's going to happen with Trey Murphy after a 40-point burst from him. Thought he was going to play. Alvarado got hurt in last game. Sadiq Bey is downgraded to doubtful, and he's been fantastic. Trae Young, questionable, and I was unsure which way Trae Young would go with the trade rumors, but also Trae being seemingly ready to play. If you see the clips emerging from what was their last game? The Hawks' last game. I forget who they were playing, but he was on the court doing some workouts, cracking up, dapping up some people. Looked to be in good spirits. He was laughing with his teammates. So I know all the drama has come out. I don't really think it has infected the Hawks that much. And I'll say it again. Trae Young is a value add for the Atlanta Hawks. When Trae Young is in the game, the spread is going to lengthen on the Hawks. If Trae Young is suddenly announced out, you're going to see this come back to Hawks minus 9.5. So there is an immediate move that shows Trae to be valuable. Same thing for Embiid earlier in the season for the 76ers. Same thing for Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, with him being in and out of the lineup and people saying his impacts are overrated. There's millions of dollars traded both ways on these games. And for them to consistently show with that amount of money and volume that Trae Young being in means this line might be 11. Trae Young being out, this line might be 9.5. He is a value add to the Atlanta Hawks. Now, what they get for him in a trade, potentially getting off the deal before he's a free agent. They couldn't come to terms on an extension with Trae this summer. Potentially adding any pieces that could help them into the future, because I don't think Trae is going to be part of their future. Sure. You could also say his impact and reflected in the market is a bit overrated. But we cannot say that just because the Hawks' record is better without Trae Young on a small sample size, reflecting on previous games, not even invoking any strength of schedule stuff or any situational stuff that might have happened. Trae Young missed some time at the beginning of the year, or no, he was playing in the beginning of the year when they were not off to a good start. And as Zach Lowe would say, caw, Hawks were not cawing. They were just integrating Porzingis. They were just integrating Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's been fantastic this year. So maybe that, NAW playing well is a floor raiser for Hawks without Trae. Maybe it's a downgrade to Trae's value, but Trae is definitely a net positive for the Atlanta Hawks. This is, to me, a very, very strong Hawks spot. I was hoping for a really good Hawks price. I couldn't get there at 10.5. And then the 241.5, I wanted the over, but I was not sure on Trae. I was not sure on Zion. Now we get Onyeka Okongwu downgraded to questionable. Thank you, Ian, for that live update. Of course, we're doing this show now 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, right when these injury reports come out between 11 and 1 local. We are seeing that total drop a little bit. We are just getting 247s to show up at Caesars at Bet365. But I wouldn't overreact to the Okongwu news. He actually has been a very good shooter, pretty good floor spacer for the Hawks this year. But considering Porzingis is back, it's going to be less Mohamed Gay than you would just expect if Okongwu was out. You would have at least Porzingis playing for this game. So I like Hawks. I don't want to stretch towards any of these numbers, but I liked Hawks a lot. Couldn't get there. The books priced me out of the spot that I wanted. LA Clippers at the New York Knicks. What we would have thought would be a marquee matchup when we looked at this. If I was a Knicks fan. I guess I low-key kind of am because all my family are Knicks fans and I'm a lifelong New Yorker. So I would root for the Knicks besides LeBron. I would root for the Knicks more than any other team simply because my family gets so excited. And so it's nice for them to see. I will bet on or against the Knicks depending on the spot and root for my money. But I guess you could consider me a Knicks fan. But if I was looking at the schedule preseason and saying, let me figure out which game to go to at MSG, let me see Harden, let me see Kawhi, let me see the potential really dangerous threat of the Clippers. I definitely want to see Chris Paul during this retirement tour, and I would have bought tickets to this game. Little did they know, Harden would be questionable. Kawhi would be playing like Kawhi somehow still does it. Josh Hart would be out. Derek Jones Jr. and Bojan Bogdanovic are also going to be out for this game. Derek Jones Jr. is one of those players, chalk him up, matters more to me and my perception of the Clippers than the betting markets. This is the one spot that I think if you are a ball watcher and potential ball knower, I think you can make these sort of moves where you think a player is worth more or less than the perceived market value of them, especially in these role players like Derek Jones Jr. It's like, oh, when Derek Jones plays, they have athleticism on the wings. They can move Kawhi off of the best player because they have Chris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr., which is a formidable attack for some perimeter defense to throw at the opposing best player. They have someone who's willing to run. They have a lob threat for Harden. They have someone who could also sit in the corner and shoot threes and like a la Nick Batum, but Nick Batum can't defend or run in transition like Derek Jones Jr. And they're missing athleticism. They're missing someone in transition. They're missing a lob threat for James Harden. They are missing some perimeter defense. So Derek Jones Jr. might be worth 0 or half a point ATS. I would say closer to 0. But to me, I would say he's worth that half a point, maybe a full point, not a full point, maybe 3/4 of a point. And so weighting some of these role players as you feel are more valuable than market, I think that is a very strong place to start if you're handicapping based on perceived ball knowledge, right? Mitchell Robinson on the Knicks would be one of those as well. Josh Hart might be one of those as well. Obviously, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, they do have clear value and the market will move, but maybe you think it's actually even more than what you see on the screen. So tracking what you see on the screen relative to player news, which some of it will come up a little bit later when we talk about the or OKC Thunder and SGA being downgraded. Some of those market moves are very easy to see in real time and price and just jot down. But I would do it and make a list of the role players that you either think are more important or you think are less important than their market value. Derek Jones Jr., for sure, one of them that is more important. For all the people writing in some comments, Ian's going to go through and star them right now and which ones that I need to come back to. It is hard for me with 12 games without Drew here as a guest to see all the comments in real time as I'm just talking through all of this. That would be pretty impressive of me. Anyways, I do believe it is a slight Knicks spot, but that Harden news is going to be key. So like Harden in and then getting Knicks at 4.5, maybe 4, I think would be a strong play. I think you might see Harden be ruled in and then this line drop down and then be bet back towards the Knicks out to minus about 5. So that's how I would see it. I have the line at around 4.5, 5 with Harden in, but I think I would like the Knicks spot right here. So Harden being questionable right now, I think there's some opportunity to wait and time it correctly. Let's keep on moving on this card. I feel like we're at a good pace with this one right now. The Orlando Magic are at the Brooklyn Nets. It is a clear schedule spot advantage for Brooklyn. Brooklyn on 2 nights rest. Orlando Magic on the 3rd game in 4 nights, 2nd leg of a back-to-back and on the road and traveling. Market ratings have this at Brooklyn plus 3.7. Oh boy, was I hoping for a Brooklyn Nets +4. I mean, if I saw a Brooklyn Nets +4, it was a 1.5, 2 unit play immediately. 1 unit on the spread, half a unit on the money line immediately. I was open for a 3.5. Was just really hoping for give me a 3.5 on Brooklyn. I see the opening lines at 2.5. I make a compromise with myself. I'm like, all right, just give me a 3. I'll fucking play the 3. I'll play it for 3, half a unit, 3/4 of a unit. I'll downgrade my play size. I'll still play the premium into Brooklyn and give me the 3. No, 2.5s across the board. 2s showing up. 1.5s showing up now, even on this Nets Magic game. Now, Ian wrote in our newsletter on Sunday night, which is sent out every Sunday, fiddlespicks.substack.com. It is completely free to sign up for the newsletter. Ian sends out these schedule spots every Sunday. On Tuesday night, we send out actionable player props. And on Thursday night, we send out main sides and totals that are actionable. Very action-heavy newsletter. The start of Ian's newsletter on Sunday night, it said, Asar Thompson over 7.5 rebounds and assists. Ian, did you see what that number landed at? 8. I see him in the back. Exactly 8. So that was a strong spot to play. Moved up to like 9.5 pregame. Even heard Joe House, shout out Joe House on the Ringer Gambling Show, give me a shout out and shout out that play. And he was like, he said, I like Asar Thompson over 9.5. And he credited the show, and I'm listening to it and going, shout out to fucking Ian, because that was Ian's play, getting some love right there. It ended up landing at 8. So I really wanted that to go 10 plus. So that was would have been a family win, but sent that out at the newsletter, fiddlespicks.substack.com, completely free to sign up. And in that Sunday newsletter was like, hey, get ready for Orlando at Brooklyn. Ian even wrote in it before I edited it, Brooklyn might be favored in this game. And I was like, all right, let's not be ridiculous here. So I switched that out. He was actually right. Like, if we had any injury news given the schedule spot, like if they rested Paolo for this game, which I don't think is absurd. I mean, put him on the John Morant, Trae Young, fucking Joel Embiid list for being a negative value add despite him being good. Paolo's still a net positive toward the Orlando Magic. I will not think otherwise until the market reflects otherwise. But yeah, if any of that stuff came in, we would have had the Nets as favorites. Nets at +2, I just can't do it. I can't pull the trigger on that spot, especially after the bad loss for the Magic. And as pointed out by, I believe, Mac in our WAP community chat this morning, the Magic players, none of them played minutes. Jamal Mosley did something so stupid last night. I believe it's so stupid. I think in the course of an 82-game season, which has its ebbs and flows, it might just be worth doing. But the bench mounted the comeback against the Wizards yesterday and got it to a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. And he left the bench guys out there because they were the guys that initiated the run. It's like, okay, I understand that, but now they're fucking exhausted and you should put the better players in the fucking game. So the starters played a lot less minutes yesterday. And I think it might be a bad loss to come back from. And it is a one that if the starters didn't play many minutes, it downgrades the travel rest spot for the Magic. So just something to be aware of. It's not just looking at the sheet and going, okay, 3 and 4 in a back-to-back. That's a terrible spot against someone that's rested 2 nights. Just like we did with the Denver Nuggets against the Celtics, where like the most important players, it wasn't a 3 and 4. 4 of them sat out. They should be back. We apply that to the Orlando Magic. We say, well, those guys barely played last night, and it was a trip from DC to Brooklyn, like very easy trip. That's an hour flight or 4-hour bus ride. I believe they probably flew. But Brooklyn +2, I couldn't get to it. I also wanted the under in this game. 222.5. I wanted the under, but I couldn't get there. That was the opening line here as well. DraftKings opened 223.5. Initially even moved to 224.5, got as low as 221.5, and now the whole market is settling in at 222.5. So the spots that I really wanted, Nets, Hawks were totally priced out at open. I always go through the slate ahead of time before we get prices. And I mean, we have model and market ratings for the entire thing. I could tell you right now, on January 21st, the Toronto Raptors play at the Sacramento Kings. Both teams are in a 3-4 on a back-to-back. Current market ratings have it as a Sacramento Kings plus 8.5. Right? We have the whole thing coded and scheduled out for the whole season. But I always do look at least a few hours ahead of actually getting prices, and I start to map out some of these things with the manual adjustments, the injuries, what's actually happening in real time. And I'm watching the games and taking notes. I'm noting the back-to-back spots. If a odds screen is open, if Nets Magic was open and online, I don't think it was yesterday during Wizards Magic, and I'm watching that Wizards Magic game. Here's a nice little edge for you. I didn't expect to say this, but I will have Magic Nets up and ready to go on my screen, and I'll probably have the Nets clicked. And it's just like, if I see anything, if Paolo goes down, if Anthony Black goes down, if Wendell Carter goes down and doesn't look good, I just immediately will action some Brooklyn in that spot. So fade teams that are in live games, if their odds are up for a future game, just have the screen loaded, have the bet queued up, have a, 1 unit queued up into your to bet whatever, and then just be able to click submit instantly if you see it happen. And before the game gets taken offline, if you're worried about it, there's other markets to do those things in that are less concerning. But those are some things that you can do in real time. I always am trying to price these games. So I had this spot circled as Nets and then saw the open and was like, well, now I can't do it. The Phoenix Suns are at the Memphis Grizzlies. Before I continue with this game, do me a favor, because I suck at remembering to do this. Please drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Should have said this at the beginning. Share the show with a friend. Sign up for our free newsletter at fiddlespicks.substack.com. And if you're interested in getting all of my picks in real time, we do have a WAP chat that is found in the link in the YouTube description, in my Twitter bio, on the podcast description. And it is $100 to sign up for a month. However, if there's ever a losing month, which the last one of December was, minus a quarter of a unit, the next month is completely free for everyone in the group. Or you can get your money back if you're like, oh, that wasn't for me, it didn't work out. Like, I hope the WAP is a value add for everybody. And so if anyone doesn't feel that way, just reach out to me and we'll get it corrected. And if it is, great, then be part of the group. I think it is a good group. There's other resources in there. Market ratings updated for NBA twice a week, NFL every week, WNBA when it comes twice a week. There's a coded bet tracker to track your CLV efficiency metrics and everything that I send out as a play. I also follow up and send out what the closing lines were, so people can not have to track it if they're tailing one of my plays and maybe they get a slightly worse number. As long as you can still reflect on the back end and be aware of what the close was and see if you're still generating closing line value at a solid rate, which then the tracker does, it will pull off what percent of your plays are gaining CLV, what percent of those are winning versus losing, what is flat to market, what is negative CLV, what percent of those are winning, losing, and ties, all of the above. So that's very good. There's also a spread to money line conversion table in there, which has, like what I was saying before, my value decisions based on playing spreads or money lines is just using a chart that helps me know which line is more valuable. There's also implied probabilities next to every single one of those lines from 1 to 15.5 for the NBA and the NFL. That's really important for people who are betting on exchanges and things are showing up as like, whoa, this is 60 cents. What the fuck does 60 cents mean? And maybe you don't realize right offhand that's a minus 150 to compare to the rest of the market, right? Oh, I'm seeing this at 66, 67 cents. Okay, that's a minus 200 line, right? Oh, 52 cents. That's a minus 108. And so you can easily convert those using the implied probabilities charts and know where the exchanges are. If you're using other books and you're saying, where's the best available odds? We have done the math for you with the spread money line and implied probability conversion table. So all of those resources are in the WAP. There's also key numbers charts for every sport, which we're updating for the NFL because the NFL season is now over. So we will knock off what happened 4 seasons ago and just isolate 2 seasons ago, last season, and now this season. So we have a 3-year sample set of data because little things change. You know, how often teams go for 2 has really changed in the NFL. Like that 4th down analytics and going for 2 analytics trends that have hit the NFL, it changes outcome frequencies and scoring. So spreads and totals and their key numbers associated with them are going to change. So I don't like using like a 20-year sample size because a lot of the strategies have changed and that affects little things in scoring. So we've seen 1-point games, 2-point games, even 4 and 5-point games in the NFL become slightly more important in recent years. Like a 1-point game is actually more common than I believe than a 10-point game or a 14-point game, both of them in recent years. And that's a very noticeable shift versus if you're using a 20-year chart. Anyways, like the stream, subscribe to the show, send it to a friend, sign up for the free newsletter, or join the WAP group, which I just gave a detailed overview on. There will be a promo code if you listen to the end of the show and you finish and make it all the way. There will be a promo code at the end. Anyways, Suns, Grizzlies. Suns minus 4.5. Total 232.5. Memphis. Second night of a back-to-back. They were home yesterday. They won against the San Antonio Spurs, 106-105. Spurs had a chance to get a game-winning shot and play. Didn't even sub Wembanyama back in for that last possession. Kept him on the bench. Hit his minutes limit. Can't play another 16 seconds in a final possession in a 1-point game to try and win the game. Luke Cornett, you're out there. I thought that was a questionable, felt like a stubborn coaching decision from Mitch Johnson. It also made me very sure of my Spurs handicap moving forward. And that is one of the edges that I'm going to give away on the show is how to handicap Spurs situations right now and Lakers situations right now, because that was such an asymmetry that was very capitalized on. Suns at Grizzlies. Let's pull up the injury report for this game because Ja Morant seems to be on the wrong side of potentially being in. Questionable Ja Morant and Vince Williams Jr. This is pricing Ja out. I'm telling you, at 4.5, barely going to move if Ja is out. Going to move a lot if Ja is in. Jordan Goodwin in for the Phoenix Suns. Booker, Dylan Brooks, Colin Gillespie, who seemed to get dinged up in a recent game, is actually good to go. So don't be surprised if we see Jose Alvarado get added to the injury report today. Ian, there's no Alvarado on the injury report, right? No. Alvarado is going to be added to the injury report today. I would have expected, based on watching the Suns, Colin Gillespie to also be on the injury report. He's not, so he's okay. So that's great to see. So Suns at minus 4.5. You could only get to this price if Ja was very likely out for this game. So that's what I will say. I wanted the Suns at like a minus 1.5. It opened at 3.5 and moved to 4.5. And I was like, damn it, I'm not getting the number that I wanted to. That was kind of the theme of today, not getting the number that I wanted to in a lot of these spots. The numbers that I do have, pretty good. Pretty good. But I wanted a lot more action on this card, on this 12-game slate, and I didn't get it in the places that I wanted it. Okay, Utah Jazz at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Right at the start of the show, I said I was able to overcome one of my weaknesses as a bettor, and it bit me in the butt. So this was the one where I was able to overcome my weakness as a bettor, and it didn't work out for me. Let me explain. I have long said since the beginning of the year, when I see a spread at 15 and a half, 16 points, 17 points, I'm just a bit lost of what the fuck to do. Like, I know at the end of the day, all I really want is the CLV. But if it's a 18-point game with a few minutes left, who the fuck is on the court, and do they want to try? And then you're getting into some team tendencies data, like team tendencies kind of capping, understanding which benches are really strong, which, like, second unit garbage time players actually play pretty well together. And you're getting into some of that stuff. Are the Jazz going to leave their players out there? Are they going to fold early? Is the OKC garbage squad going to be out there if it's a 14-point game? And so it is tough to handicap the spots that are like minus 17s in market. Someone who bets very big and who I've learned a lot from used the expression models break at these prices. So when you see the market rating for this game at OKC minus 21, what? 21? Holy shit. Yeah. 20, I think it's 21.3. You come to this game and you're like, and yes, that's even with the injuries, that's even with the recent loss to the Hornets, 21 points. You're like, okay, it's not going to open at 21. But like, then you look at the model besides the market and you're like, okay, that's even a pricey number too. It's like, okay, this is the spot I'm going to play OKC. I'm going to try and get like a 16 and a half, 17. It ended up being 17 and a half that I played on OKC and over 237 and a half. I woke up this morning. I saw 19 and a half. I said, your boy's fucking done it. I handicapped a game at a 17 and a half point spread instead of just ignoring it. And I gained the CLV that I wanted to. And the total was 242 and a half. And I was like, pat myself on the fucking back. I don't care that I have a quarter of a unit. This is one of those spots where like it feels good to have overcome a place where I'm generally weak in and done it the right way. Then I'm at my screen this morning. Boom. SGA downgraded to questionable with a knee injury. Well, I said, oh, fuck. That just bit me in the butt. Now it is right back to a 17 and a half. Total drops to 240 and a half. 240 and a half actually does offer a live middle with the 237 and a half. If you have 3 points as a middle in an NBA total pregame, then you do have a positive middle. You are betting into a negative hold with that. 17 and a half is the number. I mean, I'm still objectively correct having this be the number that I played and now having SGA be questionable and it's still the number, right? Because I was right based on the information. I couldn't have foreseen a not even second night of a back-to-back OKC SGA gets added to the injury report. So I am still riding that 17 and a half. I played back some of my over with some under at 241 and a half. We now have the whole board at 240 and a half. And so I would still play some under if I opened the middle, if I had the 237 and a half, if anyone is in the WAP group and got that sent out to them last night and are here wondering what to do, play half of it back because SGA's actually not been great defensively. Just say it like it is. SGA has not been great defensively for the Thunder recently. So I do believe if he is out, I do have a little bit of concern that the Thunder defense actually gets a little bit better in this spot, although Caruso is also out for this game. And I'm going to look at the rest of the injury report. I do believe Hartenstein is out for this game as well. Markkanen in, Nurkic in, Caruso, Hartenstein, and Jalen Williams, big Jalen Williams. And Kevin Love all out. So we do have a bunch of bigs that are out for OKC. Kevin Love is a floor spacer, so I actually like him for overs and a full court outlet passer like he's Dan Marino. And so I would look under at this spot, especially if SGA is going to miss. But damn, did I grab some good numbers, and it bit me in the butt. That was the one weakness that I felt like I overcame. TBD if it ends up working out for me. Here is a good edge. Legitimately an edge right now, and it's probably ending pretty soon. But this is something that is clearly happening in the NBA. Start with the Lakers. They are on a 3-4 back-to-back and on the road. Yesterday in New Orleans, now going to San Antonio. LeBron James is 41 years old. I don't think LeBron is going to be playing tonight's back-to-back. He even said so after the game. I'm 41 years old. I'm questionable for every back-to-back for the rest of the year. Might as well extrapolate that to for the rest of my career. I don't think LeBron is going to play. And I actioned this and played a Spurs thing when I saw the Lakers end up beating the Pelicans yesterday. Because I was like, maybe if they lose to the Pelicans, he'll try and go because Reeves is out, Rui's out. Maybe he'll try and play. But questionable, LeBron James. Probable is Victor Wembanyama. So understanding in bad schedule spots, the Lakers are probably going to rest some guys. Understand that. Here's the flip side. Wembanyama is going to fucking play. When I sent out the talk to me post, someone even responded, don't expect Wemby to play. I responded, Wembanyama is playing. This is the edge for the Spurs. They brought him off the bench yesterday. They did not put him in with the final 16 seconds of the game. This freak scored 30 points in 20 minutes. I think it was like 23 minutes. It is the second night of a back-to-back. It is coming off of a loss against Memphis. Wembanyama and the Spurs, here it is. And I heard it from Action Network's Jim Turvey. Love to give credit where credit's due. They are getting Wembanyama to the 65 games limit because they want him to be eligible for awards. So it takes 20 minutes to qualify as a game played. So on the front end of the back-to-back, to see Wemby coming off the bench, hitting that 23 minutes and not coming back, and then the Spurs lost, I was 90% sure Wemby was going to play. And so when this line opened at Spurs minus 5.5, I said, Wemby's going to play and LeBron's not going to. And now we have this Wemby probable, LeBron questionable, and a line at Spurs minus 8. Understand that the Spurs are getting Wembanyama to the 65 games limit so that he plays. Coming off of a hyperextension knee, coming off of, what was he dealing with before? The calf injury. He missed some chunks of time. If Wemby had not had the calf injury and missed 12 games because of that, and he just hyperextended his knee, he wouldn't be playing this back-to-back. He probably would have been subbed in, and then he's not going to play tomorrow because he would have a amount of games that he's eligible to miss. He can't really miss that many. So injury maintenance becomes 20 minutes a night for Victor Wembanyama. So I think we see him play 23 minutes or more tonight. That's right around where he's going to play. Cap that as you want to in these spots for probably a 75% value for Victor Wembanyama, because he's probably going to get about 75% of his minutes. When you see these Spurs schedule spots emerging, understand that is the way to handle the Wembanyama one. January 13th, the Spurs have a 3-4. So there's another back-to-back coming in there. January 22nd, the Spurs have a 3-4. The back-to-back is 19th and 20th. There are more of these spots to come. I expect them to be handled the exact same way. Expect Wemby to play on second nights of back-to-backs. Let's keep it going. Bucks at Warriors. Warriors -6, -112. Bucks +6, -108. Total 229.5. Very good price here. Not much to say. Numbers would dictate Warriors. First wave of action was towards the Milwaukee Bucks. 5.5 started showing up from the 6.5s. Now it's being kicked back to 6. Believe this is a good price for me. Warriors or nothing. I am going to go with nothing. Just a damn good price. Thought the total would be around 230.5, 229.5 here at FanDuel, 230.5 at DraftKings, 230 at Circa, 229.5 shaded towards the over at Bookmaker, 230 flat at Offshore. Said Offshore. So just very, very good lines here. Do you think this is the same way that Trey Murphy just dropped 40 against the Lakers? And you call that a Trey Murphy trade for me game? He's like, yo, Lakers, look what I can do. Look what I can do. Come get me, please. Bring me to LA. Let me play with Luka for years to come. My name's Trey Murphy. I could score 40 points. I could play good defense. I could hit threes. I could attack the rim. I could finish lobs. Please come trade for me. That might be what Giannis does to the Golden State. Hey, I kind of want out. Golden State, come get me, please. And he would do it in his Giannis accent. I love Steph Curry. Ian's cracking up. I'll never forget the clip of Giannis asking Russell Westbrook to hold his baby. Russell, can I hold your baby? Russ is like, yeah, sure, man, go for it. SGA walks in the locker room at All-Star game, and Giannis is like, say, your aura. It is the best accent in the league. I love Giannis. Okay. Great prices there. Nothing for me. Rockets, 6.5 against the Blazers. Very low total for what I was expecting. Way lower of a total than what I was expecting. Off on this number for me. Very surprised to see. So I need to go check the injury report. Chris Murray, doubtful. Damn, Murray brothers, both hurt right now. Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, both out. They've been downgraded from doubtful to out. Alperen Şengün, out. Now, I knew it would be lower than model prices because you have to factor in the Şengün. Market rating still had this quite a bit higher for a total. Had it at around 5.5, 6 for the Rockets side. And then there was some Rockets action at 5.5 to bring it out to 6.5, and it moves further than my number. And I don't know if I want to back Houston without Şengün right now. They've struggled mightily without him. They lost to the Mavericks without him. And then they had a game-winning shot against the Phoenix Suns as the Suns were in a brutal spot. And the Rockets blew a fourth quarter lead. When the Suns were in that brutal spot and the Rockets were up 7, Tari Eason at the line in the fourth quarter, I was like, all right, here it comes. Rockets run out and take this one. Tari Eason misses free throw. Devin Booker comes, hits 3-pointer. Someone else Dylan Brooks, I think, gets an and one. It's back to a 1-point game. It becomes tied late. I'm like, geez. Then Durant makes a game winner. That does it for all of the games today. Let's go through it really quick and think what might still be actionable on this card. It is potentially that over. I think that's gone up since we started the show. 231.5 for the Raptors and Hornets. It is this under 235.5 for the Wizards and 76ers. It is Nuggets plus 9.5. I really wanted the Hawks. I really did, but it's priced out. I'm looking at the Knicks, but I want Harden in for a better number. Or if Harden's out, then sure, sign me up. I wanted Brooklyn. I wanted the under, but it feels too much of a premium. I wanted Phoenix, too much of a premium. I would be looking at the under right now for Thunder and Jazz. I hope SGA plays. If SGA plays, 17.5 is a great number. Spurs Lakers. Spurs was one thing I tweeted out yesterday, in addition to seeing it and being like, I know this is a fucking spot. It's not going to last until tomorrow morning. I will tweet this one out. So Spurs minus 5.5, I think was my biggest play on the card. And that is it in terms of that. I will talk about props really quickly. Ian did let me know a few props that he likes. Ian is outright better of a prop better than I am. So I trust his player projections. He does some originating and modeling for player data. I do not. He has Mikal Bridges over 14.5 points for the Knicks. Ian, can you just include the VIG prices? Because those things are very important. We are too good to be giving out props without prices. Because you'll be looking at a prop market and it's like over 14.5 is anywhere from minus 115 to minus 140 right now in props. I don't know if that's true. I'm just making up numbers. So I will wait for that prop data to come in from Ian. I will let you know the props and long shots that we sent out in the WAP group. I mean, not in the WAP group, in the Substack last night. Ian did put them in the WAP group as well. Aaron Gordon over 1.5 assists, minus 115. Over 6.5 rebounds and assists, minus 115 for Aaron Gordon. Kevin Durant under 11.5 rebounds plus assists, minus 135. Nikola Vucevic triple double, 38-1 at DraftKings. Small play. Paolo Banchero over 36.5 PRAs, minus 125. Mikal Bridges over 29.5 PRAs, minus 108. I'm just calling out props that Ian has liked so far, and he's throwing out in the chat. I am going to start going through the comments. Fiddle, how'd you cook that filet? All right. We'll give you the low on this. This is also giving out one of my biggest edges. How I fucking do a filet so well. If you don't know what Spanky's talking about, go to my Twitter. You could see a picture of the filet that I cooked last night. High heat. Get that pan fucking hot before you put the steak on the pan. Little olive oil, plenty of butter, garlic, rosemary, salt, and pepper. 4 minutes. Don't move it. Don't be moving it around the pan. Put it down and wait 4 minutes. Flip it. Wait 4 minutes. Take it off, putting it on a cutting board. Wait 4 minutes. If you like the inside to cook a little more through it, 4 minutes, flip 4 minutes, and then put all the garlic and herbs and rosemary and whatever together and create like a little bed, like a little lift from the hot pan, and put the steak on top of the bed of herbs and garlic, and then turn the heat off and let it sit there for 4 minutes. It'll cook the middle a little bit more if you don't like it as like medium rare as I do. None of this reverse sear, also putting it in the oven type of shit. You're overdoing it. This is a filet. This is not a ribeye. You don't have to render as much fat. It's not as harsh of a cut. Fiddle, why are you so good at the Giannis accent? A lot of practice. I just do it when I'm looking in the mirror. Also because I'm probably going to name my next dog Giannis. And that way Bronny and Yanni. And I've named my 2 dogs after LeBron and Giannis. And yes, they will both be female dogs. We got to get Fids to give out a whole handicap in a Giannis accent. That would be amazing. I will do that one of these shows. I'll surprise Drew on a Friday and not tell him it's coming, and just randomly start doing the Giannis accent as I go through. Justice, did I miss the plus EV parlay talk today? No, I do need to do the plus EV parlay talk. Let's postpone that to next week. I will make it very clear when I'm doing it. I want to do it in real time when I have a plus EV parlay to give out. I don't for this one. The gentlemen's, any thought on Jimmy Butler tonight? Saw his points and rebounds getting faded today. Let's pull up BetStamp and let's do this because we are going to do a plus EV prop with BetStamp Pro, the best odds screen in the game, the odds screen that I use. I will share it on the screen right now. Honest accent. And we will look up. We gotta switch this to NBA. Why is it giving me Christian McCaffrey props? CMC's in the NBA? Okay, there we go. Jimmy. Is my internet being slow? I'll go back and read some comments. I really like the Nets team total under 110.5. They will have no problem switching onto MPJ on screens with Silva, Bain, and Banchero. I mean, MP Bain's not a great defender. Banchero's not a great defender. I like the under. I do. I do like the number. I don't totally agree with the reasoning. I would say it's really the Nets defense and the pace that is slowed down. And if the Nets are in any sort of winning game script, they slow. Let's go back to the Jimmy Butler prop. His points has gone up a hair, but the VIG has changed. His points has definitely gone up a bit. Rebounds, it was rebounds that was said. What was the comment? Points and rebounds getting faded today. Rebounds. His rebounds has also gone up. Yeah, 4.5 opens to 5.5s. 5.5 with a better payout on the over. Now a worse payout on the over. I don't think that's the way the market has been moving, gentlemen. Ruben, best looking man in the chat. Human element. Cal Banchero with no jumper and company could be quiet quitters on the coach after being shown up. I think they love Mosley. Now, I think some of Mosley's X's and O's are pretty questionable. But I do think the team loves Mosley. And I think that's why he's still there. I think OG is the perfect Kawhi stopper. Yeah, especially if there's no James Harden. Then the Knicks have just so many options to throw at Kawhi. And then you're also missing Derek Jones Jr. And the Knicks have their bigs to play to play against. Like Cat can very easily guard Lopez away from the rim. Mitchell Robinson can rebound with Zubac. So yeah. Could not agree with you, Fiddle. He is a strong glue guy in Derek Jones Jr. Bang. High five. We agree. Trae Young being a cone on defense just helps the over. That is for sure. Can you talk me off Derek White over on his points? Talk me off Derek White on his points. Well, let's look up Derek White. Let's go to his points. Let's see how the market has moved. 3 cents of movement towards the over. Very little movement at all. 7 cents of movement towards the over at DraftKings. 7 cents towards the over movement at Caesars. 0 cents of movement at Bet365. I can't talk you off of it. No. I think it's a fine play. I'd say if you want me to talk you off of it, this would be the angle. There's been subtle movements in the market that show nothing to be that strong in this line, that it's a pretty good price line. And therefore, if you place a line, place a bet that does not close with some CLV, it's likely a slightly minus EV wager. And if we do expect Christian Brown to be back, that does give a better defender for a Derek White. If he's going against THJ, Julian Strother, Jalen Pickett, and those guys, then James Harden upgraded to probable. Fantastic comment being thrown in there. Taylor, thank you. Anthony, thank you. High value comments. High value. My thought behind the Derek White is the Nuggets are giving up 40% from 3 in the last 3 games. Sure. I would say one of those games is a little bit irrelevant because they had nobody. And then is a 2-game sample size a good sample size? I don't know. Washington money line from John. I've been on some great Washington money lines. I was told that when I speak about the Wizards, I need to say friend of the program, CJ McCollum, because he's like, damn, have we been good on the Wizards? No, in this spot, I don't think so, because I think Middleton's going to be out, and I think it wouldn't be too surprising to see McCollum added to that in this 3 and 4 back-to-back spots. Not a spot where I want to buy Washington. Also not a spot where I want to fade the 76ers off the bad loss. Jay, high value comment here. Got to watch post-game interviews, especially from the stars and the coach. Yes. 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 If SGA is being downgraded to questionable in a game with this large of a spread, probably means he's out, right? No. What, the whole notion of OKC thinks they could win anyways without SGA? So might as well rest him? I don't know. The total is probably still too high if so. I think the total is still too high. I would probably play the under regardless of me having a good number on the over and opening up a positive middle. Because SGA's not been good on defense recently. And so the defense might improve. And it's a little bit concerning for me to say that with no Hardenstein and no Caruso, because there's an elite perimeter and an elite interior defender. There's a great clip of the Thunder being asked who the best defenders on the team are. And they ask a bunch of the guys, hey, SGA, who's the best defender on the team? And he's like, it depends what you want. Like, you want someone on ball, Caruso or Cason Wallace or Dort. You want someone who could guard size, but do it from a smaller player. Then the best defender on the team is J-Dub, which is why you see J-Dub like guard Jokic or guard Wemby. Like, they have him as the best guy who's a smaller player to be the first line of attack on a big, which they showed and did a lot with Jokic last year in the playoffs. Caruso and J-Dub were like guarding Jokic anytime he was outside of the paint. Then they were like, if you want a rim protector, it's Hartenstein or Chet. And so they were like, it really depends what you want. Speaks to how good that defense is. You're a good dude, Fiddle. East Coast. I'm on East Coast, West Coast, Canada, Mexico, Philippines, wherever. We're all over. We're global. Let's do a plus EV prop with BetStamp. Let's find a plus EV prop. Podzemski doubled, SGA triple double. No, definitely not in a game where he might not play. And if he does play, probably somewhat less minutes. Al Horford double double, the Giannis stopper to finally get enough minutes to get a double double. De'Aaron Fox first basket. If Wemby starts, does Wemby start today? Who wins the tap? Fox first basket, probably not a bad one. Feel free to call that anything that you see. Tyrese Maxey triple double. It's not the worst at 51-1. James Harden triple double 60-1 in the Garden. Not terrible either. Draymond Green. There's not that much that I love. We don't need to force it. Jaren Jackson Jr. double-double plus 800. Trying to find something that's more of a long shot. We've hit some amazing ones recently. Nothing that I love here. Is this a real 5-point middle and a PRA? Hold up. If anyone has BetMGM, pull it up right now. Go to BetMGM very quickly. Let's see if we have this. Kelly Oubre, 14.5 PRA for Oubre. Is this Oubre's first game back? Yeah. Okay, that might be why there's such a notable gap in his PRA. I'm pulling up that game. Wizards 76ers, players, combo stats, points plus rebounds plus assists. Kelly Oubre's 14.5, minus 110. What? Okay, we're doing, I think, our first ever live middle on the show. We are absolutely playing that 14.5. It's 20.5 at DraftKings, Bet365, 19.5. Okay, let me go to DraftKings. Player combos in this thing, points, rebounds, assists. They have the 20 plus on Oubre. Points, rebounds, assists. Let's hope Oubre's priced. Oubre's not priced in a PRA over under on DraftKings. So the middle is available. Let me pull up Bet365 and check. The middle seems to be available between BetMGM and Bet365. However, if you have MGM, this is a no-brainer. I feel like play towards the over. Yeah, it's 19.5 minus 120 towards the under at Bet365. There we go. We just did it. 14.5 on underdog too. Okay. That's going to be it. Mickey says, the show's still going on? What up, Mick? Yes. Long one today. 12 games to go through and some great Giannis accents to help get you through it. That's going to be it for today's show. Please like the show. Share it with a friend who bets the NBA. Subscribe to the NBA Betting with Fiddle channel. Come back here on Friday as we will go through the Friday slate. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, reviewing every spread, every total, handful of props, and I will go through questions like we did today as well. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, which is completely free, it is fiddlespicks.substack.com. You would have gotten the few props that we sent out yesterday. If you're interested in signing up for the WAP group, which I explained during the middle of the show, during the Suns and Memphis game, but it is a place where you get all of my picks in real time, sent to you in the form of a text message in a group where you get the alert. It is $100 a month to sign up. However, if you use promo code end of the show, all one word, you can get 50% off your 1 month or 4 month options. If you made it an hour and 20 minutes into the show today, I appreciate you. Thank you. Take a 50% off discount. I don't mention this anywhere but the end of the shows, because if you are with me and you stick through an entire show, then I appreciate that enough to give you a discount on the group. It is $100 a month. Like I said, a free month whenever we have a losing month, which is happening right now for the group. And so there's also a bunch of resources that I mentioned before: spread money line conversion tables, coded bet trackers, which tracks CLV efficiency metrics, key numbers charts for NFL, NBA, WNBA, community best bets tab, a community chat as well, market ratings updated for NBA twice a week, NFL once a week, and WNBA will be twice a week throughout the summer as well. So sign up for the WAP. It is linked in the YouTube description, my Twitter bio, and in the podcast description if you're listening on audio only. Thank you so much for tuning in. and we will be back on Friday. Let's finally share the bets from today. And it is Washington, Philly under 235.5, Nuggets plus 9.5, Nuggets on the money line, 0.2 units risked, a small one. OKC minus 17.5, Spurs minus 5.5, tacked on more minus 6. OKC over 237.5 and played back with 241.5. Lots of small little action bites at the apple today. I really wanted more. I was expecting a lot more, but the odds didn't dictate that I could find it. So there are the plays for today, and I will see you on Friday. Till then, peace out, deuces, and Russell. Can I hold your baby, Russell?